What's up, guys, and welcome to the New World Interactive weekly live stream. I'm your host, Alex Blonsky, and earlier today we just dropped an update on our development progress for Sandstorm. Basically, you can expect a brand new update with a ton of content close towards the end of the month. So pretty much the end of October. The reason why it's been taking so long, as opposed to some of our other content updates, is there is a ton of stuff in this next patch. Biggest of which that's taken us a long time to do is we're upgrading to the new version of the Unreal Engine, which is Unreal 4.20. And in the meantime, while we've been doing that process, we've had a lot of time to add a bunch of extra features and bug fixes and balance changes and that sort of thing. So we sent out a release today documenting some of that. I will throw the link to that in chat for anybody that's watching live. But if you're watching on replay, I'll throw it in to the description down below. But basically, some of the stuff that we're working on and some of the stuff you should see is a new map called Precinct. And Precinct is kind of interesting because it is more of like a close quarters map as opposed to some of the other maps that we have that have lots of close quarters spaces. But this one is, I would say, it's a lot more close quarters combat than we've seen in others. And hopefully we'll do some teasing and some video and some screenshots as well about Precinct. Next thing, I'm just going to switch over so I get the browser here. 1 second. So you see in the screenshot here, it's actually Precinct, so you get kind of an idea what it looks like. Excuse me. That was gross. So, next thing, community dedicated servers. So we've had people asking about this for a long time. Basically, we're excited to deliver community dedicated servers because it allows people to kind of pick the rules they want, lets them play with the exact people they want. For competitive people that love doing scrimmages and that sort of thing, that'll be definitely a good thing to try out. And mappers who are looking forward to like testing their own maps with players, that'll be pretty cool as well. Let's see, improvements to low quality scopes. So right now it's kind of a weird texture when you look at a scope when it is low quality, and we're hoping to improve it so it looks a little bit better. A new Tattoo Cosmetic option. The art team has been working on basically a lot more like customizable stuff, as well as like optimization improvements, but they're adding tattoos. Who knows where we go next in terms of other customization ideas. There's a lot more anti-aliasing options inside of the game now, or at least there will be. Improved character models, animations, caching of items to increase performance, higher quality textures, proportion adjustments, and we'll be making further improvements to the models as well. And then a lot of tweaks, a lot of balance changes to speed, weapon mechanics, armor, fire support, map layouts, and lots of other bug fixes. And in the meantime too, a lot of people have been asking us, well, are you guys going to reset our progress at the end of the beta? And we kind of have to, just because there's been a lot of hacks, and we've changed the cosmetic prices so that they're easier, and we just want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same footing. So what we decided to do for people that have been testing is that beta testers will be rewarded with the exclusive Tattoo Cosmetic and some credits for customization at launch. We haven't given the exact number on that yet. Still trying to figure that out. But we definitely want to reward people that have been playing in the beta, even though we have to reset their profile. So yeah, it's a lot of big stuff, and like I said, it's taken us a lot longer to test and to develop this portion, specifically because of the engine, and there's a lot of features we want to get in there too. So hopefully we get to check that out towards the end of the month, and we'll be teasing some of the stuff as well. It'd be kind of cool. There's a lot of cool stuff coming in this that we haven't talked about either, that we'll hopefully leave to you guys as a surprise. But yeah, I'll start answering some questions here. Got a lot of German questions. Interesting. When's this coming out? Towards the end of October. So yeah, it'll be another couple weeks. How are you going to prevent spawn camping? Well, so right now, basically we block off spawn from being able to be seen. I know that there's a bug currently that if somebody is sitting behind a spawn and in like a game of push, and obviously the spawns move and push, that they can easily like sit there and then blow up like an entire wave if that team moves up and they all get respawned in that one place, because it becomes fair game and that's no longer a spawn. So we're still looking at that, but generally, if you see any kind of like easy spawn kill points or that sort of thing, report it to us in the forums. It's the best place that we look all the time for that kind of information. Any news on a dabbing emotion? No. I don't think that's something that really fits our game. Maybe on stream, not in game. Mods when? Mods will come post release. So if you're looking forward to new maps and that sort of thing, I think that the modding tools we're hoping to release after the game launches. And obviously modding is important to us. We have a long history of modding. We basically grew up as like a modding team, and if you remember our previous games, they were very open and very much supported modding. So yeah, we want to see all the maps that you guys are creating, all the UI changes, the weapons, that sort of thing. Are you taking any steps to make players understand the game modes? Yeah, so I think we're going to be doing like a lot more like tutorial stuff to help players understand. I know I'm going to be talking a lot about it on streams closer to launch when we have a swath of new players in. But generally, it's not just a thing that is for NWI as well. I mean, what I always suggest is that people help each other out in games. Don't do it in a negative way, but the best way and the most one-on-one way is for somebody to actually tell somebody what to do and do it in a nice manner in game. That would be a nice change, wouldn't it, for the internet? But yeah, we are hoping to put some stuff out on our end, but yeah, I definitely appreciate the community's help on that as well. Will you support Insurgency on Source, or is it dead now or in the future? So Insurgency Source will continue to run. We haven't released an update for Insurgency Source in about, it's got to be close to 6 months to a year now, and actual like content updates is over a year now. So yeah, I don't think that we're going to be updating Insurgency Source unless there's something that's like game-breakingly broken about it that allows it not to launch on people's computers. But yeah, generally we won't be touching Source. All of our development focus right now is going towards Sandstorm. Let's see. Is the map count going up, or is Precinct simply added to the map rotation? I don't think we've decided whether or not we're going to rotate one of them out, but we definitely want a lot more people playing the new map, so we got a lot more information about it, because obviously we haven't put it in like a public light, so we'll have to decide. But yeah, we do definitely want a lot more people playing Precinct, and yeah, there's still another map in the background, oil field, that's being worked on as well. So as soon as that's done, we'll rotate that one in as well. What will the new engine fix for the optimization? I don't think that like the upgrade to the new Unreal Engine will just make everything go away in terms of optimization, but it helps us definitely look for more points that we can optimize. And there's been a lot of work to optimization in the background while we've had this time to upgrade to the new engine. Let's see. The campaign going to be released in the future? So still deciding against that right now. Obviously, we're trying to get the game polished for launch. We haven't ruled out going back to single player campaign or missions or that sort of thing. But right now, our focus is just to get the game out, and we'll decide what we do in terms of post-launch content from there. We already have some stuff on the burner. But we're not working on single player stuff currently. Question: are the footsteps getting reworked? A better location of the opponent. So footsteps, there is currently a bug in the game where if you can't see the opponent, you can't hear their footstep. At least that's the gist I got of the bug report, and I believe that's been fixed in the new patch. So hopefully we'll see that in there. Do you guys have any new and fresh game modes that haven't been in the older Insurgency? So currently a lot of our game modes mirror what was in the previous Insurgency, and we've gotten a lot of suggestions in terms of new game modes. We'll have to see what people suggest and what we want to do. We definitely don't want to split our audience between a ton of different game modes just to shoehorn them in and have no people play them. So we definitely want to make sure that each game mode is distinct and it's easy to learn, and doesn't split up our servers or player base too much. So if anybody has any ideas for ones that they want to see in the game, like I say, throw it in the forum, get some support behind it. Let's see. Do you have the opinion on the current Minimax Fov? Currently, the competitive meta is playing at 70 FOV zoomed in for a significant advantage. This is generally not as enjoyable, but offers an extreme advantage. Well, it depends. I mean, both FOV options offer an advantage. It just depends on what style you like. There's guys actually that compete with a very high FOV as opposed to a very low one, simply because they can see more left than right. So I think it really depends on the map and like how you play as well. And I mean, I like the zoomed in, like a lower FOV, but there's some people that like higher, and there's some people playing on different setups that almost require them to have a higher FOV if they have like a widescreen setup. How's feedback from Linux users? I'm switching this weekend, but only if I can play Sandstorm decently. I haven't heard much feedback in terms of the guys that are running it through the new the Steam to Linux emulator setup. But we're planning on full Linux support post-launch, so hopefully that will help. That's something that we're planning for a future update. Let's see. I hope the new maps will have more focus on close quarters combat, and new maps definitely will have a stronger focus. Precinct especially is a lot tighter, less open, and I think that it'll be interesting to have different types of maps that reward different playstyles. Let's see. Bring back Corporal Stoner. I'd look forward to that as well. Got to get Mikey back on the stick. Let's see. Will old weapons from Source come back into Sandstorm? So we did have models from that, and obviously we wanted to improve them. But yeah, it's always an option to bring back older guns. We don't have anything planned in that respect right now. But yeah, if there's ones you want to see back, definitely throw something in the forums and get some support behind it. Are you guys still working on voiceover? Most of the lines are stuck in my head. Yeah. The cool thing about customization is we can add new voices if we want to. So that'll be kind of cool to have more voices and more options that you guys can choose in game. Any console news? No, console's still coming out in 2019. Right now, we're finishing up polishing for PC, and then we get deeper in console development. We've already made a lot of ways that makes it easy for us to bring the game out on console, like the menu system and adding gamepad support for PC out of the box. But we do have to make sure that we get in all the exclusive stuff to Microsoft and Sony as well. I'll just switch back over here for a second. Sorry if you guys think you're being ignored. I just can't read as fast as people are asking questions. For the guys on YouTube, there's also people on Twitch, and on Twitch, there's guys on YouTube. Single life game modes. We don't have anything planned right now. We've seen a lot of cool ideas for single life, but yeah, we don't have it planned right now. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be answering, but I also want to be able to fire single fire shoot without input lag. Okay, well, if you're seeing input lag, definitely record a video and post in the forums. Let's see. 60 frames per second on PlayStation 4. I think the goal is to get as high frames per second as we possibly can. I don't know without doing actual tests on what that looks like. We still have to get the game in and start playing around with settings and what we can adjust and how the hardware differs from PC. The team has touched it a bit, but I can't tell you what the performance will be like because we haven't finished optimizing it yet. We put all weapons and fire support in a training map. So we currently don't have like a full training map, but we'll try to make it like any kind of training mission that we do add as comprehensible as possible. Will you guys do special events like Christmas special, for example? I think that the customization system allows us to do more special events. We don't want to get it so that people are looking unrealistic, but something like badges or tattoos or that sort of thing allows us to do some cool stuff for special events. I've always said that I would love to have a badge that, let's say it's like Remembrance Day, that you can have like a poppy on your character, that sort of thing. That'd be kind of cool. We guys do special events. Day of Infamy is planned to get updates after Sandstorm is released, right? We're still figuring out what we're doing with Day of Infamy. Obviously, all of our concentration right now has been going towards the launch of Sandstorm, but there still is an active community. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go check out the World War I mod, Screaming Steel, which is a total conversion. That is pretty cool new content that got released by the community. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff still inside of Day of Infamy, and yeah, hopefully we get to do more promotion of that as we get past like the Sandstorm launch. Let's see. We guys focus on the replay system, such as adding dolly cams or disabling HUD, etc. Yeah, we've seen a bunch of requests from our internal testing team and our external testers in terms of making that system better. Right now, it's kind of like it's not out of the box in terms of like the Unreal system, but yeah, it's always something we can layer on top of in terms of future content updates. Nothing promised right now, but yeah, it is a cool system, and we do want to make it as functional as it possibly can be. Let's see. Will there be leaderboards? So one thing I think that is planned, Mikey's talked about it before on stream, but basically what Mikey and the team want to do are seasons, so that we kind of like have a start to the end of like a competitive season, and everybody competes and kind of goes on a leaderboard. So the results of that, or what we're going to be doing about that, is still there until we actually implement a full season. But yeah, we're excited to get competitive mode running as much as we possibly can. Any plans for Unreal version of Day of Infamy? We don't have any plans currently. We're pretty much focused on getting Insurgency out and ready for you guys. But it would be cool to return back if there is an appetite and people want to see that. Will weapon skins come in the future? Obviously, fitting, realistic ones. We have talked about it. No promises on that one. It would be kind of cool, but we definitely don't want like some of these ghastly Counter-Strike mod versions where the guns look insane. We want it to keep it at least semi inside of the game. Like us, we try to keep as much flashy stuff off the screen. So some gun mod that is too crazy, I'm not sure that's the direction that we end up going, but it is an idea and something that the team has discussed. Vitriol is asking, people are talking about badges, and Vitriol says badges, come on, engine improvements, service stability improvements, hit reg are important questions. Yeah, they are important, and that's why we've kind of prioritized them as the number one thing. But when people are asking what we're working on, you can't give them like, okay, we're going to improve this on this guy's rig by this % and release it out there. So when we do release something like we did today, saying kind of the feature stuff we're working on, yeah, we're working on improvements to all areas of the game. So yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that. New engine help people with lower NPCs. Not specifically the engine, but improvements that we make because we are on the new engine might help. Yeah, we're working on optimization in all respects. So if you have a lower end PC, it depends on how low. I would never say that like we're gonna get everybody's PC on there, but if it does meet system requirements, we're hoping to get you guys the best performance possible. Sorry if this has been asked before, but during the early alpha, there were more maps for co-op. Would there be any chance of putting those back in the map pool before release? So we have a new, just like we announced today, we have a new map, Precinct, that's coming out. And we've talked about Oilfield before. Oilfield is getting some more polish. And once it does, you should see that one as well. And of course, the team is working on more maps in the background. Let's see. Weapon recoil needs more kick. So we have made some adjustments to some weapons and their recoil in the latest patch. Not going to get into specifics because we're still playtesting and tuning, but there has been some adjustments in the background. Yeah, we do have controller support in the game currently. If you are having issues with it, as always, send us a bug report to the focus forums, and we'll try to get on it as much as we possibly can. When is the update coming? Update should be out towards the end of the month. We don't have a hardline date because obviously still testing and things could come up between now and then. But yeah, we're hoping to get it out near the end of the month. Who did the female soldier voice acting? It's awesome. Damn, I wish Mikey was here. He might have that name memorized. But yeah, we had a lot of great actors in the sessions. It was kind of cool hearing some of the outtakes on our end too. Yeah, it was a cool process this time, going into studio with different actors and working with them. So yeah, we're excited to get that in the game. How many maps for launch? I believe we're targeting 6. With obviously more maps to come. And you should, with map modding support, you should see a lot of people actually bringing out their own maps as well on custom servers and that sort of thing. How customizable are the graphics options? Low end and certain mid-range computers struggle with shadows, fogs, and excessive smoke and fire. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff is actually tunable right now in game. The list is long in terms of what you can customize on the video graphics options, and it's about to get longer because we have a lot more anti-aliasing options that are coming as well. But yeah, it's continuing to expand in terms of what you can customize or optimize right now in terms of video graphic settings. Are Russian weapons planned for the security side? I believe you can pick a Russian weapon or 2 in co-op, but I don't think that we're going to be... I think we wanted have a differentiation between having one side use one set of weapons and another side use another set of weapons, just so that we're not forcing everybody into one good weapon that everybody uses on both sides. We want to kind of keep them separate and keep them as balanced as much as possible. Let's see. What's your favorite game from another developer? Well, currently I'm actually playing Divinity 2 with a bunch of my friends. It's hard because you have to get them all on at the same time and playing, but the storyline's cool. I like having the old school Baldur's Gate-esque RPG. So yeah, I got to meet some of the guys from Larian at E3 this year, and yeah, they're really cool guys, and I definitely love their game. Divinity style Insurgency game when that would be kind of cool, but they're doing it pretty good right now. They've got that game mode and that game style kind of on lock. So any plans to change the leaning system to make it feel a bit more fluid? I think they're working on a lot of different animations at this point, and I think part of it too is if you're getting a bit low performance, it's not going to feel fluid. So yeah, we're working on both ends of that spectrum. Did the game? Will the game? I guess this is. Will the game run with a 1050 Ti with 4 gigabytes of RAM? And yeah, I've had reports of people being able to play pretty decent with that. It just depends about your setup, and especially mechanical hard drive or amount of RAM seems to be a big factor right now in terms of our current performance. But as always, we're trying to lower requirements, or at least try to optimize the game as much as possible between now and launch. Is there any chance the company would do a medieval insurgency like Chivalry? It's kind of cool. There's a lot of hype for Chivalry when it came out, and I don't know. It's a pretty cool game. I mean, I think we're bigger shooter fans than we are like first-person combat or third-person combat fans. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see where we go next after we're done Insurgency and what what the team wants to do. There's been a bunch of ideas, but obviously we're not letting you guys know about that yet. But yeah, one of the biggest focuses during post-launch is obviously getting more content and updates and that sort of thing out as well. So we updated the original Insurgency for years with free content, and yeah, we're planning on lots of free content for this version of Insurgency as well. When will the precinct map be released? End of the month, along with the rest of the content listed. I'll throw the announcement again in chat, so you can read it instead of listening to me. Is there going to be more inertia to the movement like Insurgency Source? It feels pretty floaty right now. They've made some changes to movement and movement speed and inertia and that sort of thing. I can't detail it all right now because obviously we're still playtesting and adjusting and things may change. But yeah, they're looking at movement and movement speed and turning and how you function with different loadouts and that sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully you guys get to see that and give us some feedback when the patch comes out. A lot of questions. I haven't got the game yet, but they removed the C4. C4 is still in the game. I've had people do all sorts of crazy stuff with C4 that I've watched. Some of the funniest ones were in the first couple days of beta. We had guys, basically, we don't have like a suicide bomber vest, but we had like a guy that would pick up the bomb and put it on a truck and then drive the truck into like a group of people and tell his buddy over voice comms when to blow up the C4. So that one was kind of cool. But yeah, we definitely do have C4 inside of the game. Is mod support really coming for this game? Yeah. Yeah, that's the plan. Post-launch, but yeah, we, like I said, we are originally come from like a modding background. If you look at our previous games, a lot of the maps and even some of the features and that sort of thing have come from the mod community. Even like our firefight, like our theater for firefight, the current settings and rules kind of came from the community. So what the community does is kind of important to us. So yeah, we definitely want to see mods get out there. How lengthy are the co-op matches? Depends. How early you win or how good your team is. In general, I would say if you're clearing a co-op and you don't have like any setbacks, like you don't have any wipes, 20 minutes to half an hour-ish has been kind of what I've played. But yeah, it really depends on how well your team does and how fast and how far they're pushing. Let's see. Are we going to do ammo crates to give teammates stuff like Dave Infamy? I don't think that's currently in the plans. We don't have it in-game. We definitely have like ammo resupply points near spawn still. But yeah, it's not something that we're currently planning. Anything been talked about for PvE co-op? So co-op, I know that they're working on more bot behavior type stuff. We have talked in the past about more and different game modes, but like I said, game modes we don't want to have too many that confuse players or like split our community. So we'll be moving into looking at that after launch. But yeah, they have been working on the AI for co-op right now, and obviously getting like a new map to test with that will be pretty fun as well. The guy's aware there's a scoreboard glitch, and you can spam tab to see your kills even when you're live. Yes, I've heard about that one. I think it's in the queue, in the bug queue right now. I know that Sandstorm implies the game is set in the Middle East, but will you guys set maps in other locations in the future? I don't know. I think we'll still be set in the Middle East. I would never say never in terms of like going to different places, but generally like we have the setting that we want to use. But there's lots of different places. If you looked at the original Insurgency, different ways that we can differentiate maps to look cooler. I mean, our maps now with like the full palm trees, you can even see in the video right now, like it looks like a lot more I don't know, not jungly, but there's a lot of different environments that you can make with the tools that we have set up, and kind of the environments that we have that make each map look different. In the original Insurgency, we even had like a snow map, so all sorts of cool stuff you can do. Will competitive mode be getting more attention and a priority as release approaches, so it will have more participation after the Q bug fix? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a big proponent of competitive. It's kind of the scene that I hang out in terms of Insurgency. And yeah, I definitely want to see a lot more people playing. I definitely will be promoting it on this stream and be talking about it and be working with the guys in the competitive community to try to bring as much focus and intention on that as possible. And I know they already have a bunch of stuff planned, especially as we move into things like custom servers, which should be here by the end of the month. Let's see. Are there going to be new features coming to Sandstorm? Yeah, so we just announced a bunch of new features that we're going to be implementing by the end of the month. I'll throw that announcement just so I don't have to detail it again for everybody that's been listening before. But we do plan to add more features post-launch. For Insurgency, the original Insurgency, all of our updates were free, and they came for, I think, almost 3 years of free content updates. And we definitely want to plan on bringing free content updates to this game as well. Will there be more customization options, like say more face masks, balaclavas, shimogs, etc., and more armor skins camo? Yeah, we're going to continue to add to the customization system as well. Lots of cool ways we can go, but we want to try to make it as authentic as possible and not put anything like super wacky. So yeah, we still have a lot of ideas of stuff we can add, and yeah, go check that out when we add them. Any plans of porting popular community-made maps to console? So yeah, I mean, it depends. I think we'd want to get them as like an official thing. Like modding on console is, from my understanding, a really hard process to get set up, and not many games have done it effectively. But if what we've done in the past a lot of the time is if there are specific cool community maps, that if we work with the developers of those maps and make them official, that would be kind of cool to see community maps inside the game on PC and then bring it to console with content updates or whatever as well. That might be kind of cool if we could do it. Will the optimization be as good as normal Insurgency? So old Insurgency ran on a really old engine, which means that it was a lot easier to run for a lot of people. It wasn't as detailed, didn't have vehicles, maps weren't as big. So yeah, it was definitely, with the same system, easier to run the original Insurgency. Our goal is to make it run as best as we can for the most players as we can. So yeah, we're planning on continuing to optimize the game as much as possible. It's been our primary focus during this this testing and during this downtime between updates. So yeah, we're working on optimization on all fronts right now. Will we lose our progress from the beta? So we are going to be doing a reset right before launch in December, but we're hoping to reward anybody that's been playing the game during the beta test with an exclusive cosmetic item, as well as some appearance credits at launch. And we'll be able to announce more details on that as we get closer. When is this coming to consoles? 2019. Can't give a more specific date on that, but we're excited. We've heard a lot of feedback of people want us on consoles, and be excited to have a lot more people try and play the game. There's definitely not many good tactical FPS games on console right now. Excuse me. Any other types of vehicles in the future, like Humvees or APCs? We've had ideas, but nothing to announce right now. Any word on ambush or one life game modes? No. If you guys want to see a specific one life game mode or any specific game modes, throw them into the forums. That said, like we've talked about before, game modes, we definitely don't want too many or ones that are confusing. So we want the player base to be playing basically the game modes that we're working on as much as possible, and we don't want to put a game mode out there that we're not going to touch or we can't optimize for. So we definitely want to make sure that each game mode kind of stands unto itself and is something we can support and doesn't split the community base too much. Try to get big streamers to promote the game. So yeah, we have talked to a lot of big streamers, and some have picked it up on their own accord. So far, we got Summit and Shroud, and even Dr. Disrespect played the game once. So yeah, hopefully you get a lot of them back on closer to launch. But if you guys want to help doing that, obviously you can pester them. Let them know that you want to see them play our game. Can you address audio quality of life changes? Quick comm spam at the start of the game, ability to turn off chat off, radio making the beep sound when voice chat is turned off. So comm spam, I know we've lowered the default value of comm spam during the beta process. If you think it's still too high, let us know. Ability to turn voice comms off on individual users. Yeah, I believe the reason you can't do that right now, even though like you see like the mute unmute button, is it's a bug. So hopefully that'll get fixed. And yeah, we don't want you guys to have an annoying experience playing the game. And if you're that guy that's giving that guy an annoying experience, don't be that guy, dude. Who made the 3D gun models? They look really high quality. Yeah, like our animation and gun guy, Ben, is really good at what he does. You can go look him up, Mr. Brightside. Just go look up Brightside like game modeling or something on YouTube, and there's a lot of videos he does like explaining how he does things and kind of showing you what he does and how he makes his models. The minimum and recommended system requirements out yet? If not, when will the info be released? Once we get through optimization, that process, we'll be able to put out some minimum specs. When we'll be able to browse servers, server browsers should come with custom servers, which should be the next patch at the end of the month. So that'll be cool. Definitely a lot of people asking about that. Does the gore system only work on default player model or can be carried on custom models? I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. I assume if somebody builds a custom model to break in the same respect that you can do it. I'm just not 100% sure on that. Also, doesn't Mikey still voice one of the Arabic security guys? I don't think he voices anybody on... I think he voices... The only one he does is the helicopter support. Or it's the jet support. But yeah, when you call in like air support, Mikey's voice is in there. Plonsky, what's wrong with one life modes? I don't think anything's wrong with one life modes. But yeah, I guess if you're talking about ambush, it wasn't a mode that got played by that many people. I heard a lot of love for the game, and I think that mode could definitely be changed or expanded or that sort of thing. But yeah, not something that we're looking to do right now. How many people are working on the game? There's about, I would say, like 38 to 40 people in the company, and I would say out of those, about 35 are on the development team. So, yeah, about 35 are working directly on like the development side of the game, and we've got people working on obviously the marketing, community, and finance, and that sort of end as well. Hey Alex, what about the dust up effects and firing? Could you do like a demonstration rundown? So there should be some like flares of dust that get hit up when you actually shoot into the ground right now. But I don't know if I'll run through a full demonstration. There's still a lot of questions. And I think I'm planning on a shorter stream. I haven't been feeling that well recently. Talk about frame rate. I don't care about anything else if the game is unplayable. Well, yeah, we're making optimization adjustments. It's hard to go into specifics with people's specific loadouts or their setups or their like hardware, because each person has something different inside of their setup. But generally across the board, we're trying to optimize the game as much as possible. Why do you guys start streaming while we were at school? Well, unfortunately, we have a lot of European, or fortunately and unfortunately, we have a lot of European people who watch the stream. So in a lot of Europe, it would be closer to 9 o'clock right now at night. So yeah, we have Pacific people, we have people in Eastern time zone, and then we have a lot of people in Europe, and occasionally we get people in Australia or Asia, that sort of thing watching. So hard to come up with a time that pleases everybody in terms of when we start the stream. Are we going to release the game on Xbox in 2019? Yep, that's the plan. Xbox and PlayStation 4 next year. Will Easy Anti-Cheat devs support this game on Linux via Proton, which is Valve's Wine build? I'm not sure. I haven't tried doing like the Linux, like the Linux emulator that's built into Steam, Proton, but I've heard some people are able to use it. If you're having a specific issue with it, though, throw something up in the forum so that we can investigate. Obviously, we're working on full Linux support for the game when it or after it fully launches. Let's see. Will the game be able to be heavily modded? Yeah, I think the goal is to get it as moddable as our previous games, which were pretty moddable. I mean, they started total conversions. Big one is like Day of Infamy, which basically became a New World interactive game over time. So, how's it going? Are you feeling good about your progress? Yeah, it's been going well. We've had I've seen a lot of improvement. There's a lot of things, and especially like balance changes that people have been asking for that we're making in the next patch. So we're excited to see them. It's just the only hard part is like when it takes a long time to upgrade to the new game engine, and we've been sitting here, we see like everybody's wants for new maps and wants for like updates and optimization fixes, and yeah, we want to get them out as quick as possible, but we have to get this this engine update in. So yeah, seeing everybody's feedback and not being able to give them something quite yet has been a little bit tough, but yeah. We're headed in the right direction, so yeah, we're in a good place right now. I know you guys are super busy with Sandstorm. Will Day of Infamy get some updates down the line? I think I answered this question early on the stream, but it is a possibility. But right now we're heads down, concentrated on Sandstorm. There has been a lot of like community content that's been released in the last little while. But yeah, we don't have any plans right now. What's wrong with Ambush? How hard would we make it and add it to three servers? It'd be difficult. You have to game test every mode, every map. And quite frankly, like we don't have the player population that plays that game mode to support it. Right now there's a couple servers that are really well populated in the original Insurgency, but that's about it in terms of people playing Ambush. So we don't want to spend time developing something that only a small subset of the player base will play. If we do that, we want to make specific changes that opens it up to more players and gets more players excited about it. And obviously we don't want to split our community between a bunch of different play modes just to have them in game. We want to make sure that every play mode is as refined as possible. Really happy about the AA editions announced, so they aren't just FXAA, full screen anti-aliasing. Yeah, there's a lot more options in game. I can't give you exact drop down because I'd have to go download our test version of Sandstorm again to show you, but yeah, it's there's a lot more options now in terms of what we can do for anti-aliasing, not just on or off. I don't know how much you can talk about this, but how long should we expect for some post-launch maps? You guys got a lot of concepts. Yeah, so we got some in development that we can test. We've got some that we've talked about, or ideas that the team has talked about. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, and especially when the game gets out there and we get community maps as well, that'll be an interesting addition. A guy's planning on updating player models. So yeah, there will be improved character models, animations. Yeah, it's actually like for anybody that has like a very simple question like when's the update out or what's in it, go to the Steam announcement. I just threw it in the thread. So will there be implementations to punish intentional team killers like the old Insurgency servers had? The moment they killed you for a laugh, you'd hear a voice announcer shout team killer to the entire team. It's given an option to instant kill them, burn them alive, etc. That doesn't sound like the old Insurgency servers to me. Excuse me. Still feeling terrible. But yeah, we're looking into right now how we handle like misbehavior or players that you normally report in game, and trying to figure out what's the best way to handle those situations. Used to be via vote system, but vote system also gets abused. So trying to figure out what's the best way to handle those types of situations. Right now, if you team kill 3 times, you will get kicked off the server. But yeah, hopefully we get something in there that makes it easier for us to control any kind of those negative community interactions that you get. Will graphical mods like Reshade be allowed or will be prohibited like PUBG and Squad? I'm not sure, because it would be easy anti-cheat stance on those. I don't think we as a studio have like a specific stance on it, but if like our anti-cheat client says that it allows people to hack the game or gives people an unfair advantage, then obviously we want to take care of that. How much will we be able to customize community servers? We will release that information closer to the patch date at the end of the month. Hopefully with some commands and settings and that sort of thing. Yeah, I've seen admins abuse it because they were trolls themselves. Yeah, I get reports like that on community servers, and I mean, for community servers, I get it. Like if you are a community server host and there's somebody in the game that you don't want in your game, I mean, it is your server, you're paying for it. I get it, but for our servers, we definitely want to get like a system or process in there to handle any kind of negative interactions. My opinion, the only good thing about reshade is getting rid of jaggies. If you have TAA and sharpening enabled, you don't need to reshade. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, the only reason I can see that people are actually doing reshade, it doesn't tend to be to make the game look better. It tends to be to make things easier to spot, which I'm not the biggest fan of in games. I'd rather not give people advantage outside of what's available in tools where you're requiring everybody to go download a specific program. That seems to be where I've seen it used the most. So I don't know. If you ask my personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of it, but any plans to speed up bolt action rifle reloads with more in line with Insurgency source? I know some bolt action rifles did get balance adjustments. I can't talk about those specifically, but they are working on all sorts of balance issues right now. A bunch of YouTubers are saying this game looks more arcadey than Insurgency. Well, I don't think the goal is to make it more arcadey. We've always been a game that's somewhere between like a arcadey style shooter and like a milsim type game, and we're really trying to recreate like the feeling from the last Insurgency. It's harder because it's on a different engine, and it's lots of stuff that we had in development for a long time. We're kind of get a feel down. And yeah, if you have specific like feedback in terms of how you want the game to feel, as always, throw it in the forums. Let people know. We've taken your feedback since the last update and made a bunch of balance adjustments based on that. So in terms of feeling, like the game's feeling will continue to change up to launch and probably beyond that. Will Sandstorm get a ray tracing update someday? It may impact what my next GPU will be. We don't have anything planned specifically about ray tracing. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of games doing ray tracing right now. I think it's Tomb Raider and is it Battlefield, I think, is also supposed to be doing it. with like a downloadable patch or something like that. But we have to make sure that there's some support out there for it before we dive right in there. And I mean, right now we're trying to work on optimizing the game and making it look as good for as many people as possible, rather than people with like a brand new graphics card. Okay, the Insurgency is the game. Like, Insurgency not real? What? This is really weird, this question. I think it's a little commercial types of games for the casual games bring the Insurgency feeling in near of normal games. I mean, yeah, I don't think we're trying to go more commercial per se. Like, we've always tried to strike that balance, right? I mean, every game is going to have a niche, and you can probably do like a rainbow spectrum of military FPS games and put each one into like a specific bucket, one towards arcadey, one towards milsim. And we've always tried to get like near the middle of that rainbow, the middle of that spectrum, in terms of like how our game plays, fast in some areas and slower and more tactical in others. So yeah, I think it really depends on like the type of shooter you want and what you want a shooter to offer. It's harder when it only gives you like one style of gameplay all the time. The thing I've always liked about Insurgency is that it can get really fast and hectic, and then it can get really like methodical and tactical, especially when you watch like a competitive game. So yeah, I like having the balance and being able to do both. Does Sandstorm have any health regen? No, we do not have health regen. The only health regen you can get is if you're playing co-op, you can go to the ammo resupply crates and regen some health. And there are some supply crates in some of the PvP modes, I believe, as well. So is there a roadmap available so we have an idea of what to expect in the next patches? We released that information today. I'll drop the link in chat again. It's got basically comes out end of this month. There's a lot of content updates, balance changes, optimization updates, ton of stuff we've been working on in the background while we've been updating the to the new Unreal Engine. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff coming. And I'm gonna get your questions in now, guys, because I'm going to stop the stream here in a little bit. I haven't been feeling the best, so. Any chance the player count's being increased? So we're not planning it on our servers per se, unless we do some sort of weird different game mode that we haven't tried before. Right now, the number of players on a map seems pretty balanced for the size of them. But you could always look to community servers to change those numbers around. Like if you want to try a ton more players and see how the server handles it, I would. It would be kind of cool to do that on a community servers, and we did see that in original Insurgency. I found some servers that were 40 players and that sort of thing. Right now, it's capped on 16 on 16, depending on the game mode. A lot of people talking about Battle Royale, and we have talked about it on the stream before, but basically. It would be interesting. It's nothing that we have planned right now, and I don't think anybody should be pro or anti like a specific game mode. I mean, there's positives and negatives to each type of game mode. I think the cool part about any Battle Royale game that I've played is that you basically have a story every time you play it, and the story changes every time you play it. But I find just the inherent like pick up weapons and find them randomly makes it that it's a lot of RNG in terms of like how it's played. So I don't know, if we did come up with some sort of cool idea for it, I think it might be cool, but it's nothing we have in the plans right now. Oh yeah, somebody says feel better, Alex. Ordered my shirt on Amazon. Yeah, mentioned it last week, but you can get Insurgency Sandstorm shirts right now on Amazon if you live in I think it's still live in the States. I don't know if we've opened it up to more places yet. But yeah, just search for Insurgency Sandstorm on the Amazon store if you're in the States. And there are t-shirts that are being officially sold by us now. What's the general gain from the engine update, performance, or any new specific graphics options? The engine doesn't necessarily give us like more performance, but there's a lot of tools that can help us optimize that are in the new update, which are cool. And generally, when you're on the latest update, it makes it easier. Like they've made some improvements themselves. I couldn't give you like an actual like percentage performance increase because everybody's system handles things differently. Like I remember there's some people that said that they had like better FPS back in our alpha, which is kind of insane to me because that was before we had a ton of performance improvements and things that would definitely improve somebody's performance on it should be every system. So there's always some bugs that you have to work out. And yeah, we're trying to squash as many as those as we possibly can and get the game running to the best spec that we possibly can as well. Really missing VIP mod and night maps. Yeah, if somebody wants to get VIP or ambush in the game, they're always welcome to mod it in. And that goes for any game mode as well. If you have an idea for a game mode, yeah, when modding gets in there, you can throw it in. Night maps would be cool too. I love the like lighting systems in Unreal, and it makes for some really cool gameplay, especially if we do get night maps in the game or an option for night versions of our map. So yeah, I would definitely like to see that. Will there be a console beta? Heard it was coming to PS4 and Xbox One. We haven't announced anything in terms of like testing for console yet. We will when we get closer. Still got to figure out the logistics. If we want to do a beta, how easy is it to do? Generally, it's not as easy as doing it on PC. So we'll have to work with obviously Microsoft and Sony and see how we can work that out. Let's see. Alex, are you able to share anything about NWI's plans for Launch Splash? Got much bigger budget or ideas for advertising and marketing? So we've been talking to everybody. We've been talking to streamers. We've been looking at all sorts of different marketing ideas. We've been talking to Steam. Talking to a lot of different sources that and even like our guys that ship out keys. You saw last week Mikey was on a stream with Clean and with Karma Cut talking about Sandstorm in a podcast form, and that's like another cool thing where we can like just reach out to people in the community that we know and talk about the game. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that aren't traditional marketing that we can do. And I always say, like, it's always interesting when people say, like, oh, I didn't see an advertisement about this game. Well, like, the real, in online marketing, the real thing that you want to do is you want to grab people that haven't played the game before, right? So if I'm marketing towards you and you've already bought the game, that's money that's not well spent. If I'm marketing to, like, a different audience, that tends to be a better spent money because they weren't aware of the game or they never heard of Insurgency. So yeah, it's interesting. I occasionally do see some ads, especially when we drop new trailers and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're gonna be pushing the game as much as possible. Is there going to be different types of ammo available? For example, AP rounds. So we've talked about this on a couple streams before, but But yeah, AP rounds and HP rounds, we took them, so they didn't come over from the original Insurgency simply because it created a very unhealthy meta, where you're kind of required to take AP rounds. And generally, we want a big difference between the guns people take and kind of the attachments they put out in the guns, rather than picking AP or HP ammo, because they are so powerful. And we want like specific guns to be able to penetrate walls and other ones not to. And it's hard to balance around that when you give people that ability with like one specific like ammo type. Do I need to log into the beta to receive the tattoo, or is it all for all pre-order customers? We have to. I have to double check, and we'll release like more like concrete information about what the tattoo looks like, and what the appearance credits will look like that you get at launch as well, and how those work closer to the actual launch. But now heavy armor is meta. Well, heavy armor is meta during the current patch, right? We've got a patch coming out on the 20th, and one of the things specifically that we even said in today's update is we have made changes to armor, so and to some specific guns. So who knows what the meta is going to be after the patch drops later this month. Let's see. Up there's a workshop mod to increase pistol mag count. I would regularly run pistol only matches for co-op. Can't really do that during Sandstorm. Yeah, if you have an idea for a mod, throw it up in the forums. Get some. If somebody else is interested and they're in the modding community, maybe they'll do it for you. That would be kind of cool. We need an official Discord server. There's actually 2 official Discord servers right now. We have the official Insurgency Sandstorm Discord server, and there's a New World Interactive, official New World Interactive Discord server. If somebody wants to be a deer and throw the links into chat for this guy on YouTube, that would be nice. When does the game come out? December 12th is our launch date. Can there be a third-person mod? I don't know. We'll have to see if somebody wants to make it. I know somebody made a third-person mod for the original Insurgency, or I think it was actually a SOCOM mod. And it's interesting too, because a lot of the console people that reach out to me, a lot of them are big SOCOM fans. So I think there is kind of like an appetite out there for third person. It's not something that we're necessarily interested in, but if the community wants to make it, why not? Will friendly fire on support be switchable on community dedicated servers? I have to get a list of all the stuff that you can turn on and off inside of community servers. And we'll release that closer to when the patch drops at the end of the month. But yeah, right now we're primarily focused on performance and the actual gameplay. Any of these other like features that we're adding, there's like not everybody's working on just performance. Like you can't get the guy that's our art guy, like obviously he does some optimization in terms of his models, but after that he's working on other things, and some of this stuff may be stuff that we could have saved for post-launch had we launched back in original launch date, but we have there sitting in their background, so it's cool to release it to you guys now, so you have stuff like new maps and the server browser and that kind of stuff to play with while we're testing. A couple questions about story mode, and answered this earlier in the stream, but it's something we might come back to. It's not something that we're currently working on. We are exploring it, but yeah, right now we're just getting the game polished and finished to release on PC. Alex, what happened to the refinery map? Oh, it's Function. He's from the competitive community. If Refinery is getting refined right now, it's getting balanced and adjusted, and we have been testing it internally. I don't think it's going to be in this next patch, but hopefully after that we are adding the new map, Precinct, which is a lot more close quarters map, and so that'll be a cool change of pace for people looking for something new to play. You should have a secretary taking notes of what you're talking about on the streams and posting it to your forums. I think there has been a guy that has been doing that, actually. It's been taking the streams and making like written questions and answers, which is kind of cool. I've also thought like it would take me a lot of period of time, but doing like time markers or whatever for the YouTube video, so and putting them in the bottom. Who knows, maybe I'll try doing that this week. Do individual questions and answers and try not to find the instances where I re-answered the same question over and over again. Already pre-ordered a few months ago. Really enjoying the game. Looking forward to the next patch. That's awesome, man. Any chance you could give party members green tags in game would be nice and much easier to coordinate in game. Multiple people have posted about this in the forums. No official replies yet. So they have been. I know our UI guys have been working on stuff to customize how like teammates look and those kind of colors. So I'm not sure if that's getting added in the next patch, but I've seen it in the background. Hopefully that gets released before we actually launch the game. Can you say how many firefight maps there are for Precinct? At least 2. There are 2. I've seen during testing, and yeah, they're kind of cool. It is interesting because some of the most popular, especially competitive firefight maps were like close quarter combat, and I expect that because the map in general is a much more close quarter map, that it would be definitely good for something like a 5-on-5 firefight. Let's see. Yeah, we'll put out minimum specs as we go or finish going through optimization on the game. I just want to say that I don't understand people who complain about optimization. I have a GTX 660 and get solidly 70-80 FPS on virtually any map. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, it's definitely takes more hardware in order to run Sandstorm, and we have a lot of people that have that jumped into the original Insurgency on older PCs. For me, I have like an ancient CPU. Like my CPU is 7 years old, but I've got a 1070, so I've got some RAM, and I'm running on like 16 gigs of RAM and running on an SSD, and it works really well for me outside of trying to stream at too high a resolution or too high a bit rate or that sort of thing where it's encoding it at the same time. But other than that, I haven't had that many problems on my end. But we understand if you're having issues in terms of optimization, and we're working our hardest to try to address as many of those as possible. And obviously there'll be some of those in the next update. Here's a great cosmetic idea for NWI For free? Damn, dude. You were gonna charge us? Let my player character have a casual cigarette hanging out of his mouth. That'd be interesting. I don't know if that affects our whether or not we can sell our game. Like, are you allowed to have cigarettes in games? I assume you are. Wait, Solid Snake does it. Pretty sure. Let's see. Yeah, so I think I will wrap up the stream there. Lots of good questions today. As always, if you have more questions, throw them in the forums. Any suggestions, bug fixes, anything that is like pertinent or you want people to answer, throw them in there. We frequent those, and it's what we've been looking at in terms of our balancing and feedback and which bugs to tackle. So I'd highly suggest you throw them in there. If you haven't already, go read today's update on the next patch and all the content that we're adding. And we'll be back here next week to discuss the game some more, and maybe preview some of the stuff that's in the patch in a more visual aspect. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a good day, and we'll see you guys